Frank Isola with us for a couple of minutes. The impact of Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, I don't want to just skirt right past that. Your view of what's going on in the league now. I was the Phoenix Mercury's first play-by-play guy, bounced around on planes with Nancy Lieberman and Cheryl Miller, 3 to a wide on Southwest, and they're still flying that, by the way, on
Yeah.
the ladies' side. What do you think the impact, Frank?
Well, I think you saw it right away with the amount of people that watched the draft the other night. 2.4 million was the number on ESPN. I actually went to the draft and I did a bunch of interviews from there, including Caitlin Clark. It's just a phenomenon. Uh, you know, there's no other way to describe it. And I keep saying, if you look at Zion when he played his 1 year at Duke, it just became larger than life. And all the games were like an event. And Caitlin Clark, I think that was certainly the thing this year. She's just so unique in the way that she plays. And there are obviously other great women's players, but she was kind of the first to do what Steph Curry was doing, taking these like logo threes.
Yeah.
And when Steph did it, you kind of looked at him like, he was a bit of a freak. They're not great shots. Now you see so many other NBA players do it. So her game was really unique. She's ultra competitive. She did make it to two back-to-back national championship games, so that all plays into it. Race, I think, on some level plays into it. But Brianna Stewart, remember at UConn, won four straight most outstanding players at the Final Four. She won four national championships. She barely ever lost, and she didn't capture the imagination of the country the way Caitlin Clark did. So we'll see if the WNBA could capitalize on it. Certainly, right now they have. I don't think that it's helped that some of the other players seem to be a little jealous of her, either current or former players. And guess what, Brad? They're going to get real jealous because the story came out last night that she's getting an eight-figure deal
Yeah.
from Nike. So that's at least 10 million. I think there's you might see even more backlash from that.
Frank, I'm looking forward to visiting with Diana Taurasi because I need her to explain to me some of the comments that she had with Sue Bird during the playoffs, the NCAA tournament, about her day is coming. I get it. You're 40 and you're just saying, I'm not going to hand this over to you. That it's going to be easy. You're going to be playing with grown women, but it got to a line where, and there's some backlash out here towards Diana with those comments. I don't know if you saw them, heard them, but
Yeah, I
what you're
know. I'm
referring
aware of
to,
it.
yeah, 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 yeah. I think
But
there's something there.
yeah, Brianna Stewart, who, was a terrific player, she was asked during the tournament, I think it was during the Final Four, can she be considered an all-time great if she doesn't win a national championship? And Brianna Stewart said, no, she has to win a national championship to be considered an all-time great. How are you going to say that? She's
Yeah.
the all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball. She made it to back-to-back national championship games. The only game that South Carolina has lost the last 2 years was to Caitlin Clark in the semifinals last year. And by the way, all right, so let's hold it against her that unlike you, she didn't go to UConn to play with 10 other All-Americans and try to win a national championship. And the stuff here was like the thing that turned me off the most. And I get like the idea of trash talking and rookies coming into the league and people are hard on them. She wasn't in the league yet when Diana Taurasi was saying this stuff. And you're 41 years old and you're going after a 22-year-old girl who it's capturing the imagination of the country, which is only going to be good for the WNBA. I think there's some petty jealousy there. Even Lynette Woodard, who held like the all-time record, was invited to Iowa's game to see Caitlin Clark break the record. So they have her at the game. She gives Caitlin Clark a big hug. She's complimenting her. Then she's doing some kind of speech during the Final Four, and she knocks her again. So it's amazing. Like, I don't understand the players. You finally have more people than ever before paying attention to it. This player is a transcendent player that's only going to be good for the WNBA. You kept telling us, watch, pay attention to us, notice us, notice us. We're now noticing, and you're knocking the one player that's making us notice. So it was a little strange.
Yeah, Annie Myers Drysdale's out here, and I consider Annie. We go through great people first and foremost, and then of course she was drafted in the NBA, and she's sitting here
Yeah.
loving this. She's wrapped her arms completely around this and can't get enough of it.
Well,
And I
yeah. But
appreciate.
Brad, let me just say this too. I mentioned the Zion comparison
Yeah,
before. Remember Barack Obama went to Durham to go watch him play. Like it was a big thing to do. This year, Caitlin Clark, last summer I looked at the Iowa schedule because I wanted to see when she was going to be coming to the East Coast. I think the NCAA blew it by not having her play. She should have played a game at Madison Square Garden, somewhere in LA, Chicago, the United Center, and maybe somewhere in Dallas. They should have had to play four games all over the country. Anyway, She came and played Rutgers on a Friday night in early January. I couldn't get tickets to the game. I didn't want to spend too much money on them. But then when she came to Maryland, that's where I went to school. So she went to Maryland on the first Saturday in February. And I drove down. The game was actually a nationally televised game. I drove down to Maryland to watch her play. And when you see her play in person, it's impressive. I mean, I keep saying she reminded me a little bit of Steph Curry, the way she shoots the ball. She's got a little bit of Jason Kidd in her, the
Mhm.
leadership and the passing. I think she's got a little Steve Nash in the way that she handles herself, the dribbling. And then I said she complains like Luka Doncic to referees. So she had like a lot of the a lot of the characteristics of current and former NBA players.
Should she be on the Olympic team? Like it
Oh,
shouldn't be a
yeah.
question. Like, come on, guys, what are we even waiting for on this one?
Yeah, but you know what you should do? Why don't you have the president of NBC Sports on and ask him if he wants Caitlin Clark to be on the Olympic team? I get it; it's going to rub some people the wrong way, but what's going to happen is if she's not on the team, people are going to say, "Why didn't you put her on the team?" And then if she does make it, I get people are going to be upset. I would put her on the team. I think it would be much more interesting. Here's the thing about the women's national team: they never lose. At the Olympics, the women's gymnastics team becomes a big story, and we all become experts at gymnastics after like 2 days of watching it. The swimming becomes a really big deal. The women's soccer team always becomes a big deal, but we don't always win in those events. The women's basketball, our team has been so dominant, they're almost like a victim of their own success. And I would put her on the team.